Hi everyone, I'm Kristen and welcome to my channel where I discuss narcissism, narcissistic abuse, and what it's like to be romantically involved with one of these very special and unique individuals with narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. Okay, I am not a mental health care professional. I'm just someone who has experienced narcissistic abuse, and I just want to provide whatever insight and support I can to others who may need help with navigating their own experience with a narcissist. Okay, so what is a narcissist? Okay, if you're like me, you may not have ever heard of narcissistic personality disorder before engaging with your current narcissist. Okay, you most likely stumbled upon this term in an attempt to figure out why the person you're dating is seemingly driving you crazy, or they don't appear to have empathy towards you, towards other people, or towards animals. Yeah. Okay, so in my previous video, I discussed what it's like to become suddenly aware of the fact that you're in a relationship with a narcissist. Okay, so what caused me to finally question my ex-partner's behavior was one night I was in an argument with him and I was crying, and this realization just hit me like a ton of bricks. The person in front of me didn't seem to have a soul. Okay, so let me elaborate on that, because I know that I don't have authority to claim whether or not someone else has a soul, but this person just seemed to completely lack any sense of empathy. So I was crying, and my boyfriend, who I thought was in love with me, someone who cared about me, he was just completely unmoved. He even appeared to be irritated by the fact that I was crying, and he was even actually being even meaner to me because I was crying. It's kind of demonic, and it was like very cold. Okay, so the realization that my partner wasn't displaying any signs of empathy, it was really bizarre and unnerving to me. So after this argument, I went and Googled terms like, why doesn't my boyfriend seem to care that I'm crying? Or why is my boyfriend meaner to me because I'm crying? Right? And so after typing in these questions into Google, I discovered what a malignant narcissist was, or someone with NPD was. All this information describing various behaviors that my boyfriend had been exhibiting, like to a T, started to pop up, and my mind was blown to discover that what I was experiencing was textbook narcissistic abuse. Like, really, like, this is a thing. There are people called narcissists, or malignant narcissists, or narcissistic sociopaths, who actually, they intentionally manipulate, hurt, and use people in very specific ways that they actually have their own category in the DSM. Okay, so the DSM is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders, used by psychologists. NPD is a mental disorder. I'll tell you, it is one of the scariest feelings to realize that this is the person you've been sleeping next to at night. Okay? So you feel completely violated. You feel like your whole world has been turned upside down, which it has been by the narcissist. It was intentional. Okay, so how does the DSM define NPD? Well, there are 9 specific characteristics listed in the DSM which define a narcissist. I'm going to list them out first and then I'll go over them individually. Okay, so the first trait of a narcissist listed in the DSM is a grandiose sense of self-importance. The second one is a preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited power, success, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. The third is a belief that he or she is special or unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other people or other high standard institutions. Okay, the fourth is an excessive need for admiration. The fifth is a sense of entitlement. The sixth is interpersonally exploitive behavior. The seventh is a lack of empathy. The eighth is envy of others or a belief that others are envious of them. And the ninth is a demonstration of arrogant or haughty behavior or attitudes. All right, so the first trait listed in the DSM, a grandiose sense of self-importance. Your narcissist may present themselves as a person with very high self-esteem or overconfidence. Okay, but it's actually a cover-up for the fact that they have very low self-esteem and they don't want others to know about this. Okay, a lot of times a narcissist they'll be a self-praiser. Someone who literally sings their own praise. They'll be like, oh, I'm so good at this, or I donate to charity. You know, like I'm not good at it because I'm not a self-praiser. It's not something that I do. It's not something that most people do. Okay? Like, do these people are they even aware of how they sound to other people? Like how gross it is when they're bragging about themselves. Like they don't even know how like off-putting that is. But these people live in their own world. Which leads us to the next trait, which is a preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Okay? They believe that they are the most successful, powerful Prince Charming. Okay? Even if in reality, these things are not the case. Okay? They live in a world where they believe their fantasies that they're the best at everything. And then when faced with the evidence that their fantasies are delusions, they'll ignore them or dismiss them, or worse, they'll get really defensive because you're threatening their sense of belief about themselves. Like they need to believe these delusions. It's a defense mechanism to protect them from the fact that they are someone who has very low self-esteem. And they're ashamed of this and they don't want anyone to find out about this. Okay, so that's also why they do things to tear down other people's self-esteem like my boyfriend, he would often insult me and pretend that he was joking, or he would try to make me feel insecure by flirting with other women in front of me, like triangulate me, which triangulation is something I'll get into in one of my other videos. But yeah, they need to assault other people's self-esteem in order to bring everyone else down to their level so that they can feel superior to other people. Okay, so instead of doing the inner work and engaging in healthy activities and self-beliefs that build self-esteem from, the inside out, they just lie to people and to themselves by pretending that they're better than they are. Okay, so the third trait is a belief that he or she is special or unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special people or high standard institutions. Okay, so this is an interesting one because it ties into what I described in my first video, the way a narcissist will never allow you to come to an agreement in an argument. Because at the point in your relationship where you and the narcissist have begun to argue, this is after the love bombing stage, they have now begun to devalue you. Okay? Devaluation is the next stage in the narcissistic cycle of abuse. So now once they've started to devalue you, you're below them. Okay? And so if they were to allow you to resolve an argument with them, to come to an understanding of some kind, this would mean that you would have to be special and unique, just like them, in order to understand them, which is not the case. Because in their eyes, they've started to devalue you. Okay? So it's a mind fuck. But also, this could look like seeking to associate only with people who are successful, beautiful, or of high status. Okay? All right, the fourth trait is an excessive need for admiration. This trait points to what is known as narcissistic supply. Because the narcissist has such low self-esteem and self-worth and doesn't seek to fulfill this lack from within, the narcissist is perpetually looking for love and admiration, or even just attention. It doesn't even need to be positive. It's just like something you'll learn from your relationship with a narcissist. You notice that they'll just do things to piss you off. Like anything they can do to get a rise out of you is fuel for the narcissist. It's food. It's narcissistic supply, and it makes them feel good. Okay, so because the narcissist will never have love or self-esteem from within, their need for admiration, it's more than excessive, it's eternal. They will always, constantly, and consistently be trying to get admiration and approval from outside, which no matter how much they get, it will never be enough. Okay? They're like a bottomless well of internal lack that it can never be filled to satisfaction. Okay? So this is why a narcissist will cheat, Because no matter how much you love this person, it can never be enough. Okay, not because you are not enough. It's very important for you to not internalize the narc's lack of self-love as a reflection of your worthiness. This is also why narcissists, they're huge energy vampires, because they would just suck the life out of you. Okay, no matter what you give, it's never enough. So just get the hell out of there and go save yourself. Okay. All right, so the fifth trait is a sense of entitlement. This trait ties into the first couple of traits, where because the narcissist lives in a fantasy world and he believes in a